Good evening, everyone. First of all, our base medrash this afternoon was graced by the 9th and 10th grade of Yeshivas Gaon, I think Gaon Yisrael, and it was very nice learning. It was good to have you here as well by the shir. Also, it's not often that you get a usual sight of somebody putting on tefillin during mincha. We have over here a very fine cipher, Reb Simcha Zisel Goldberg, who did me a favor and checked my Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin and did some work on it. So I wanted to say Kriya Shema with it before Shkia. So that's why, if you were wondering what's he doing, I did daven Shachris already. Not that late, Rabbi say. Okay, as you see, we're recording now because we have tonight, after the daf, we have the Chumash shir, which everyone is invited to. We're sponsored by the Fisher family, Lili Nishmas Basi Bas Robert, Shlomo ben Avram Alevi, Perel Bas Ruvain, L'Refu Shalem Rafel Yomis ben Chai Sarah, Lili Nishmas Rabbi Rachmil Gershon ben Reb Tzvi Yehuda, and by the Klugman family. So Mishna now speaks about a well-known halacha l'mishna of good asik mechitzasai and good ochis mechitzasai. So hamishal shel dafanais milmala lamata. Somebody is lowering walls down from the top to the bottom. Unfortunately, he didn't know how to measure very well, and the walls don't reach all the way down to the bottom. So the Tanakama says, in Gevayim in Aret Shloisha Tvachim, if it doesn't get within 3 Tvachim of the ground, it's psula. Now that's because the Tanakama holds, if it's more than 3 Tvachim, it's a bika shagdiyim boikimba. It's a area which goats could get under, and then it's not a good mechitza. However, if it's milmata lamala, if he starts from the bottom and he goes up, and it reaches 10 tefachim high, which is the minimum height of the wall, so then, even though it doesn't reach all the way up to the schach, it's okay, ksheira. Why? Because we say, good asik mechitzasa. We say imaginarily, as if the mechitza goes all the way up by itself to the schach. That's called good asik mechitzasa. We pull up the mechitza to the top. Now, Rabbi Yosi says, well, just like you pull it up to the top, you could pull it down to the bottom. That's called good achis mechitzasa. Rabbi Yosi, just like it's enough if it's from the bottom up, as long as you have 10 tvachim. Kach milmala lamata, so from up downward, it's enough if it's asar tvachim. He doesn't have a problem of the bikesh agdiyim boikimba. If you only have 3 walls to the sukkah, and the schach doesn't reach the middle wall in the back, but rather there's a gap of 3 tvachim, psula. Now you'll say, but we said the legal fiction of daifin akuma. Daifin akuma works if there's a board there, but here there's airspace. Airspace is worse than a board. You can't make something when it's not there. So if there's a gap of 3 tvachim, more than the share of loved, so then that's puzzle, and then this sukkah where the schach is only has 2 walls, because the schach is disconnected from the 3rd wall by the gap of 3 tvachim. They say that the Bali Musar say a very interesting thing. They say avir passes with 3 tvachim. Schach puzzle passes only with 4 tvachim. And the Bali Musar say that apathy is worse than anything. Airspace is apathy. I just don't care. That's the worst thing. Somebody has opinions, at least they're in the game. At least they're interested. Somebody that just doesn't care, that's the worst thing. That's why airspace is puzzle 3 tvachim. Schach puzzles with 4 tvachim. Now, bayis shenifchas, let's say that it's an old house, and the house caved in the middle. It was neglected, and it caved in. There's now a hole in the middle. And v'sikach al-gabav. So you say, you know what, we could use this dump for a sukkah. Right? So v'sikach al-gabav, you put in that middle hole, schach. Im yesh min ha-koisel la-sikach arba amas. If from the wall, the regular ceiling goes to the middle schach, 4 amas, that's too much already. Because we say doifen akuma up till 4 amas. But if it's 4 amas or more, it's no good. Psula. And the same thing would be true is if you have a courtyard, and around the courtyard, there's 3 walls of the house surrounding the courtyard, and there's roof coming out a little bit, overhangs coming out a little bit on all 3 sides, and from those overhangs you put schach. If the overhang is 4 amas, it's no good, because then that's puzzle. If it's less than 4 amas, then you could say doifen akuma, and then it's going to be kosher. Succa gedayla shekifua b'davar she'ein misachachim bay. If let's say you have, this is the last case in the Mishnah. The last case in the Mishnah is if you have a large sukkah, which is surrounded by bedavar she'ein mesachachin by. If it was surrounded by something that you can't, here you have an area where you put in schach of 7 by 7, which is the minimum share of the sukkah, is schach kosher. So you have bamboo in the middle, 7 by 7. That sounds okay. And around it, you have metal pieces all around it. And the metal pieces all around it are 4 amas. So sukkah gedayla shekifur b'davar she'ein mesachachim by, that you surrounded it with something that you can't use for schach. Im yesh tachtav arba amas, if the surrounding on all sides has under it 4 amas, so that means that, again, the surroundings are 4 amas from every wall, where you can't say doifen akuma, so then it's psula. Now the Rav says over here what I told you, that it's good to hear it. Dafka min atzad amrinon she'ein schach pasel paisel al ba'arba amas mishum time of the doifen akuma. Aval be'emtza sukkah, but if it's in the middle of the sukkah, paisel ba'arba tvachim, avir she'ein sham schach klal bein be'emtza bein min atzad, that pasels b'shloisha tvachim.